Hey, and welcome to Sermon After Sunday, a midweek podcast from Grace Way Baptist. These short episodes are meant to help Sunday's message stay with us throughout the week, not just in the room on Sunday morning. So whether you're driving, working, or just taking a moment to breathe, we really are glad that you are here. Let's take a few minutes to let Sunday's message keep working in us. By now, guys, we're a few days removed from Sunday's message in James chapter 1. And here's what I want us to lean into today. Transformation doesn't happen just because we hear something. It happens when we start living it. James says very clearly that being a hearer only and not a doer is like looking into a mirror and then immediately forgetting what you saw. Listen, these are actually James's words from verse 22 through 25. But be doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. Because if anyone is a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like someone looking at his own face in a mirror. For he looks at himself, goes away, and immediately forgets what kind of person he was. But the one who looks intently into the perfect law of freedom and perseveres in it, and is not a forgetful hearer, but a doer who works, this person will be blessed in what he does. God's word was never meant to stop at our ears. It was meant to shape our lives, to move us into action. Sometimes those actions are points of service, and sometimes those actions are coming face to face with parts of our lives that do not bring him honor. Here's an illustration that might help. Imagine sitting down for a meal, chewing your food, tasting it, thinking about how good it is, but then never swallowing it. You experienced it, but you never nourished your body with it. That's what it's like when we hear God's word, but don't obey it. Hear this. Insight without obedience never produces transformation. When we follow Jesus, our lives should look transformed in comparison to what they looked like before we followed. James gives us a very practical picture of what real faith looks like in everyday life. When we apply it to our lives, when we obey it, it changes how we speak, how we treat people, how we live. In other words, if transformation is happening inside of us, it eventually becomes visible all around us. So here's the question that I want you to wrestle with today. Where has God already shown you something that you need to obey, but have delayed acting on it? Maybe it's controlling your words. Maybe it's showing compassion to someone you've overlooked. It can be an area where you know exactly what obedience looks like. You just haven't stepped into it yet. Here's your one application for today. Choose one specific act of obedience to God's word and do it before the day is over. Not tomorrow, not when it's convenient, today. Because James reminds us that blessings are found on the other side of obedience. And here's the encouragement I want to leave with you. A faith built to last does not come from a life that is lived perfectly, because that's impossible. But it's a faith that it's practiced. Transformation rarely happens in one big moment. It shows up through consistent obedience in everyday life. So as you finish out this week, don't just reflect on what God has shown you on Sunday. Act on it. Let his word move from something you heard to something that is shaping how you actually live. Thanks for taking time to reconnect again this week. We'll see you Sunday and then again next week for another sermon after